Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Mary, and I am still playing with that July card kit from Simon Says Stamp. So last video I did 8 cards where the pattern paper was the star of the show, and this time I'm going to do a few cards where the stamps and the die cut are the stars of the show. So we are going to get started with this first card here, and I am going to do just a rainbow focal point using this wave stamp. So I'm using my new Distress Oxides. I absolutely adore them. These colors are so vibrant. They're so easy to stamp with. You can see here as I go through, I'm going in rainbow order, and the color is just fantastic. So it really is the perfect combination of inks. Can't say enough good things about it. So for this set, I tried to go with all of the new ones except for the purple. So the Wilted Violet was already in my stash from last time, but all the other colors are new for the Distress Oxide. So I did get the set of 12 with the second set that came out. So after I got my rainbow down with that stamp, I used a Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die to kind of cut that out, make it smaller. And then here I'm using my Sending a Summer Hello sentiment, and I had to stamp that 3 times because I wanted it super stark black on there to pop off the page. So once I was finished with that, I matted on some of the pink cardstock that came with the kit, and then some sparkle pen to go around the sides there, give it some extra shimmer. And that was it for the card. I added some pretty pink Posh of the clear sequined confetti that came with the kit, and super simple, super fun, and I love the way this one turned out using that stamp as a focal point. So moving on to the second card here, where we're going to make the bikinis our focal point. So we are, again, throughout this entire video, I'm playing with these new oxides, so it's kind of like a twofer deal. I got to play with the stamp set and my new toy. And so I'm going to heat emboss all of those bikinis all over as a background. Then I'm taking some of the Twisted Citron, Peacock Feathers, and Salty Ocean. And I am just wetting them and then picking that up. I'm going to do some emboss resist, right? So now we can see our little bikinis popping off the page there. So I liked how this was going. I thought this was a beautiful mix of colors, except for the Twisted Citron into the Peacock Feathers. I didn't think that blended well enough. So I tried to go back and pick up some of that blue at the bottom and some of the Twisted Citron at the top, and it just wasn't going the way I wanted to. So what I did was just took my mister and just sprayed actually straight to the paper. When you spray straight to the paper, it's going to then reactivate all of that color and move it around. So I got to move it around a little bit more and blend just kind of by just dipping it around. And so I like the way that looked a lot better. I don't show it in the video, but I did take some Twisted Citron again and add some more to the top because I thought that was missing a few pieces of color. Here, now what I'm going to do is cut off the ends at 1 1/4 inches in. And all I'm doing here is nothing fancy. There's really nothing fancy throughout this whole video, just some fun with you guys and showing you some of the techniques I used. But I'm going to lay the middle panel flat down, and then I'm going to pop up with foam tape the 2 panels on the side of that, just for a little bit of dimension and a little bit of fun. Again, nothing earth-shattering here. I'm not going to be entered into any kind of magazines for my ingenuity, but it was fun. Once I did that, I wanted a Twisted Citron bikini, because who doesn't, right? So I had to make some of that color cardstock, and then I used my die cut that came with the kit to pop that out. I added the blue cardstock that came with the kit as a kind of a shadow behind my bikini, and excuse me, and then that's just going to be popped up with some really high foam dots that I have in my stash. And so that's going to be, again, the die cut and the bikinis. This is the focal wow aspect of this card. So I added some Spectrum Noir sparkle pen to that for a finishing touch because I wanted my twisted bikini to sparkle. And then added my sentiment on the bottom, which is bikinis are like fries, you can't have just one. And that will do it for that card. So that finishes up with some pretty pink Posh of Sequins confetti as well. All right, on to the next card. So here I actually took a piece of Neenah and a piece of Bristol, and I blended them. Now I'm showing you the Bristol right now. Now oxides, they blend beautifully on anything, but on Bristol, it's an extra smooth wowness to it. So this is the Bristol, and I'm going to show you a comparison here at the end, and you can see some very fine details between the two. So I'm using Abandoned Coral, Twisted Citron, Peacock Feathers, and Salty Ocean here. And these four colors really are just a dream. So when I'm blending them in, I'm almost getting almost all of the rainbow with those, as long as you blend them into each other. And they're just like butter. I love it. Okay, so here is the Bristol in my hand, and here is the Neenah. Still very good for distress inking. However, you can notice on the left with the Bristol, it's so much smoother. So I just wanted to show you that little comparison there. Once I was done with that, I decided to work on my first panel, which is the Bristol, and I made a frame. I'm going to use that frame as a shaker pop-up. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to stamp with Stazon ink, because it is an ink that won't smear once you let it dry, and it dries pretty quick. The time to relax, and then the waves at the bottom of my acetate sheet. So that's going to give that on the acetate, that pop on the sheet instead of stamping on my panel. So then I put back in my panel and my frame because I want these white clouds to go across the panel. So now I'm stamping the clouds there. And I'm going to do that with some craft ink from Stampin' Up, which I find to be the absolute best white ink you could find. You have to let it dry, make sure you let it dry for a long time, but it is very stark white, so I absolutely love it. All right, so now I am placing down where I'm going to put my frame. I put some strong score tape on the back, some 1/8 inch score tape on the back of that frame, and then I attached my acetate to it. Once that's done, I'm taking some of these strips that came with the card kit for my shaker element. I think I would have, to do it again, I'd like to put 2 levels of foam tape. However, I still think that might have been too thick of a card, unless I was hand delivering it. So I did only put 1. Once that's done, I'm going to now put in my sequins. So I don't know if you noticed, but I used my anti-static powder tool around the edges to kind of keep those from sticking. And now I'm adding some glue to the panel and just placing some of those confetti on the panel so that they don't all move to one side or the other. So I'll keep a little bit always in the focal point. I'm putting the back panel onto my shaker, and there we have it. There's the finished shaker. Not a whole lot going on in there, but just a little bit of fun to shake around. So that will complete this card where the clouds and these stamps are the focal. And then here's how I did the other card. Flat, no shaker. Moving on to the next one, I've pulled out this stencil from my stash here, and I am going to use the same colors, but I'm going to blend them over this stencil. And this stencil is very intricate. I did tape it down temporarily, the actual card piece that I'm working on, which is Neenah 80 pound. And then I just held my stencil over it. You can tape down your stencil as well if you want to do that for a little bit more stability. And here's the finished result. I am going to stamp Beach Please on the front of that, and then I'm not going to waste any of that ink. So I've wet it, and now I'm placing it down on watercolored paper this time, which is Canson XL, and I'm going to get some fun use out of that ink also. So with both of these panels, I colored with some Spectrum Noir markers and cut out, fussy cut, the bikinis that came in the stamps. So I did that, and now I'm popping them up again with those really high foam dots. Once that's finished, I'm going to affix both of these onto a piece of that cardstock that came in the kit. So first the yellow, kind of the golden sun color, and then the pink. And I'm going to do those at an angle, finishing them off with some Nuvo crystal drops. I used a lime green for the first one, and then a beautiful carnation pink for this one. And so that will finish off these 2 cards also. I'm moving right along. All right, I did add some little accents to the bikinis, though, to change them up. So I put white polka dots on the yellow and black polka dots on the green one. So that was just a little bit to add to my bikinis. All right, moving on to the last card. In this, I used a bunch of that pattern paper and just cut out tons of those bikinis from the die cuts. So once I did that, I was getting my panels here ready. And I'm going to distress with the oxides again. This time I'm using Peacock Feathers and Salty Ocean on one panel and Twisted Citron and Abandoned Coral on another panel. Now this was the Simon Says stamp paper that came with the kit, and I thought it blended really nicely on there. It's kind of right in the middle between Neenah and Bristol. So it wasn't as smooth as Bristol, but it wasn't Neenah. You get what I'm saying? You could see the finished product there. So that came out really nice. And then once I get that blended to what I like, I move on to the yellow, orangey, corally one. And so here I'm just making sure that that's blended to my liking as well. So you can kind of see, I know I've sped this whole video up because when I actually started to edit it, it was like 2 hours long. So I had to chop tons and speed it up. But it really didn't take me that long to blend these at all. That was really fast. The oxides just make it so easy. Okay, so now I am watering those, distressing them, and there actually gets kind of like a raised look on this paper from distressing. Just FYI. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp out sentiments. The first one is the bikini sentiment. The second one is beach, please. And there we have it. I am just going to lay down flat the two bikinis on the side and lay in the middle my itsy bitsy yellow polka dot bikini. I'm going to pop that one up with some Stampin' Up! Foam dots. And that will finish off these cards once I mat those on a black piece of cardstock and then onto my card base. So that's it for the cards. Here's some close-ups of the very last one. I hope you liked these cards. Again, this set is just all things fun and bright and beautiful, colorful and happy, and so it just really made me smile working on all these cards. Hope you got inspired a little bit. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and also don't forget to find me on other areas such as Pinterest, Facebook, and my blog, as well as Instagram. So once again, hope you had fun. Can't wait till we craft again and have a wonderful weekend. Now I'm going to go take the advice of my cards and go spend some time out there in the Florida sun, in the Florida beaches. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend as well. Bye-bye.